And we're live. For those of you who are joining me for the first time, my name is Matt, and I've been living here in Hong Kong for the last 4 years. And today we're going to be going to the tallest building right here in front of us. There, it's called the ICC, and it is the tallest building in Hong Kong. It's 484 meters, or 1,588 feet. So just a massive building. And as of this year, it's the 13th tallest building in the world. Now, I just want to, because we're outside, I just want to tell you what's inside the building. So, the top of the building is the Ritz-Carlton Hotel, and then at 387 meters, or 1,272 feet, we've got the Sky100, and that's where we're going to be visiting today. That's the observation deck. But in the Ritz-Carlton, they've got a bar called Ozone, which is, they say, one of the highest bars in the world. Great place to visit when you're here in Hong Kong. And the rest of the block is taken up by offices. So we've got offices all the way, and then the observation deck, and then finally the Ritz-Carlton Hotel at the top. So if you want to come to the observation deck, you're going to take the train to Kowloon Station. The train is right here, and I just turn the camera now. It's right down here. That's the train station down there. Then you're going to take the escalator to the Elements Mall. You can see the sign there. And then you're going to walk about 5 minutes through the mall until you reach the Sky100.
5 minutes later.
We're here at the entrance to the Sky100, and we're going to be taking an elevator up the floor. But before we do that, we need to get our ticket. And this is what your ticket looks like. Hey there. Thank you. So here they've got a display that shows various places in Hong Kong, the islands. This is Tai O, a fishing village. It takes about 3 hours to get there. It's a very isolated village, but a really like nice throwback to old Hong Kong. We'll be doing a tour to one of the fishing villages next month. Look at that sunset. Hong Kong has a lot of amazing hikes. It's a very mountainous region, very green, and best to hike in winter. It gets very hot in summer, but as you can see, pretty spectacular. Let's take the elevator. So this is sort of the view that we're going to see, except from quite a high height. That building you're looking at right now is the tallest building on Hong Kong Island. I just want to show you what's really cool about this lift. We're not even going up yet, and it feels like we're already looking down on Hong Kong. Over here we can see how high we're going. So we're going about 793 meters. So we're about a third of the way there now. Then I can give you
You'll arrive for the 100th floor within 60 seconds. and from a height of 393 meters, will take you on a 360-degree voyage across the city and through the extensive multimedia exhibits into the lives and culture of Hong Kong
So
people.
39 seconds, 40 seconds. Oh, we have 20 seconds until we're there. And we're now at, oh my ears are popping, it's now at 380, we're almost there. There we are, 393 meters. Oh. And that's why it's called the Sky100. It's on the 100th floor of the ICC. So as we walk in, they've got a beautiful cityscape on the ground. So here we have, this is Hong Kong Island. And this over here is the tallest building on Hong Kong Island, the IFC. And that's the area of Wan Chai. And then if we just turn around, we're going to look at the area of Kowloon now. This is Kowloon, separated by Victoria Harbour. And then here we can see the Sky100 and the ICC, the building that we're in right now, the tallest building in Hong Kong. So just beautifully, beautifully done. Now we've come right at opening time, so we're really lucky because there's not many people here. I can just show you. We've pretty much got most of the space to ourselves. And this is a 108-story building. We're on the 100th floor, and it sits atop Kowloon Station. And when it was completed in 2010, it was the tallest building in Hong Kong and the 4th tallest building in the world. Now 13 years has passed, it's now the 13th tallest building in the world. A lot of other buildings come up. And now the actual construction started in 2002 and it was completed in 2012, so it took about 10 years to build. Now I want to tell you a little bit of interesting fact about the Sky100, and that is that in Hong Kong and in Asia, and especially in China, they've got something called a tetraphobia, and that is they avoid the number 4. So even though the the building has 110 stories, it has a 118th floor, and the reason is that they avoid the number 4. So there's no 4th floor, 14th floor, 24th, 34th, anything where there's a 4, they just skip that number out. And so they call it a 118-story building, but it's actually only 110 stories with those levels skipped out. So we're looking here at Kowloon. This is probably the most densely populated part of Hong Kong. We've got the areas of Mong Kok, that's what we were looking at straight ahead. That's the most densely populated part of Hong Kong. And this area of Kowloon, if we go past the mountains, we go into the new territories, and then past the new territories is mainland China. Oh, I'm getting a little bit of vertigo. Wow. Okay, so down here they're doing some construction. You can see that. This is they're creating a arts district, and this is the last part that they're going to develop. So here we have the opera house, Chinese opera, and then I'll show you a little later the rest of the cultural arts district. And then over here we've got Kowloon Park, and for me Kowloon Park is like a mini version of the Central Park in New York. It's like a nice green space in the middle of the concrete jungle. And then if we just I'm gonna do a little bit of zooming in now. Where that cruise ship is, that used to be the Kai Tak airport, the tallest, the one of the sixth most dangerous airport in the world. But it was closed, I think, in 1998, 1999, and the airport has now been moved. We don't have that record as the most dangerous airport anymore. And the current airport is very safe. And that's now been turned into a cruise ship terminal. I'll be doing a tour there in June, so look out for that. This is Chim Sao Choi, which means sand-tipped mouth. And there are a lot of places. Let's go around the corner and I'll show you what it looks like at night. Here's a night shot of the harbor. That's looking now onto Hong Kong Island. We're going to get this view too, but in the daytime. Let me give you a nice postcard moment there. So here you can see we're at 393 meters, the Sky100 on the 100th floor here, represented by that circle. You can see both Kowloon and Hong Kong Island. It's really, really spectacular. I'm going to move forward. We're going to go and look at Hong Kong Island. I'm going to point out some of the places there. Okay, so let's look at Hong Kong Island. I'm going to point out a couple of places. Let's go. Okay, so here we have the Hong Kong Exhibition and Convention Center. And a lot of if you're coming to Hong Kong to do an exhibit, a trade exhibit, that's probably where you're going to be exhibiting. And then TST, there's a lot of tourist attractions there. So straight ahead, that orange building is the Hong Kong Cultural Center. That's where you can go see ballet. And right next door to it, I'm just going to move, just right next door to let me put my finger in. So that building, this building over here, that's the Hong Kong Art Museum. It's free to enter. So TST, a great place to visit when you're coming to Hong Kong. Yeah, so the ferries cross between Hong Kong Island and Kowloon every few minutes, and it's a really great way to get from each one. The ferry's been running since 1888. It's one of the first forms of public transport, and it's actually it's world famous, and it's been voted one of the top ferry rides in the world. I just want to zoom out a little bit to give you some of the scale of where we are. Just amazing, amazing space. Now let's talk about the highest point on Hong Kong Island. We can see it from here. I'm going to get a nice close look. There it is. So this is the tallest point on Hong Kong Island. There's an observation deck. That area there is called the Peak, and that's the highest. The Peak is actually a little bit over there where those radio towers are, but people go to visit the Peak to get views of what we're looking at. So we're looking back at them now, and they're looking at us. They're looking over Kowloon, we're looking over Hong Kong Island, and the Peak is also one of the top tourist attractions. They've got the first ever Monopoly museum there. They've got a Madame Tussauds. They've got amazing views, and they've got a special deck there that's about 420 meters, a little bit higher than we are now. And then below us, this is actually an area of reclaimed land. Now you'll see there's some cars coming up and down, and that's actually because there's an underground tunnel connecting Hong Kong Island to Kowloon, and those are the cars that you see coming along. Now there's some curious buildings. This is for the tunnel, and it helps take out all the dirty air from the tunnel, and so that's what that is. Over there we've got the Hong Kong Palace Museum. Hong Kong Palace Museum houses objects taken from the Forbidden City in Beijing. So you don't need to go all the way to Beijing to see some of the objects. You can come and see them here at the Hong Kong Palace Museum. So we were really lucky to be able to have that, and that just opened last year. Then we've got an area called the Free Space, that building with a little red line across it. That's a performance venue. And then one of the most amazing museums in Hong Kong, probably I would say the most amazing museum, is called the M+. That stands for Museum Plus. And the idea of the Museum Plus, it's planning to be like the Museum of Modern Art, like the one in New York, or the Tate in England. It's aiming to be one of those museums, and it really does. It's got cinemas. They do contemporary art from all over the world. They do graphics, films, visual art, all sorts of types of visual art. It's just an amazing museum. So this is the cultural district that's been developed, and then it's just a beautiful area to walk along as well. Now, I don't know if you've come with me when I was in Hago, but I went to Macau. Macau is actually, you can't see it, but it's down here. It's also a special administrative region of China, and it was on loan to the Portuguese, and they handed it back in 1999. And if you want to visit Macau from Hong Kong, really easy to do. Where these two red buildings are, there's a ferry. It takes about an hour on the ferry, and you can go to Macau and visit this amazing place where you see Chinese and Portuguese culture intermingling. It's really amazing space to be. Then we've got some of the outlying islands here in Hong Kong, and I'll tell you a bit more about those as we round the corner. But I just want to just give you again a sense of scale. Oh, Jay says she loves Macau. I think I'll have to go. If you would like me to go back, let me know. I want to go back to Macau, just maybe for one day, film a bunch of live streams there, and there's still so much to experience. So now we're going to have the experience of seeing some of the outlying islands. Now, Hong Kong has over 100 islands, and some of them you can visit. We visited one called Cheng Chao, and you can actually see Cheng Chao from this vantage point. I'm going to show it to you right now. It's a little bit behind Hong Kong. We're going to zoom into it. That is Cheng Chao, the island that we visited earlier this month. Oh, and I wanted to show you something else. Can you see that red boat there? That's the ferry to Macau, making its way there. It's going to get to Macau in about an hour's time. It's called the Turbo Jet because it's literally going to lift off the water and fly to Macau. It's an amazing boat. And now I was talking earlier about how Hong Kong is a major place for exports and imports from across the world, and here you can really get a sense of it. So earlier we saw all the ships down here, but over on this side you can really get a sense of the scale of the import and exports coming from Hong Kong. There's a lot of trade, and it all happens here. Let's get a shot of all those boats. Now you really understand why Hong Kong is a export center as well as being a finance center. So many boats. And then we have the island of Lantau, and I'm just going to see if I can, the best way to show you is so it's a little bit misty today, the island of Lantau. It's actually the biggest island in Hong Kong, and it's also the least inhabited island in Hong Kong. But that's where you're going to find Hong Kong, the new Hong Kong airport, Disneyland, the cable car that we went to, and there are a number of little towns that the outlying island towns that people live in on Lantau, where there are boats that go directly from Lantau straight here to the central business district in Hong Kong. So just a great way to, if you want to be away from everything, live on Lantau, and you can take a boat every day directly into the central business district. Now they've got here the Cafe 100, and so when you come here you can also come have a drink and come into the cafe. Now we've just come here when it's just opened, so you just have a little quick look. What a amazing way to end the day, is to come here, have a drink, look out this amazing view out of Kowloon. Really, really epic. There, get a postcard of that. Isn't this an amazing place to be? Wow. The IFC, the International Finance Center, the tallest building on Hong Kong Island that we're looking at right now. That's actually got a museum there that no one knows about. It's not very well advertised. It's the Hong Kong Monetary Museum, and it's not advertised anywhere, but it's free to go, and it's also got stunning views overlooking Hong Kong Island and Kowloon. And you'll learn a bit more about the Hong Kong dollar there. Hong Kong dollar is one of the most traded currencies in the world, but it's also a very stable currency, and that's got due to the the Hong Kong Monetary Authority. They basically just throw around money to maintain the Hong Kong dollar in a certain range to the US dollar, and that's pretty much the story of the museum in a simplified version of it. I think there's a robot here. This is Hong Kong, always like the latest thing. So this robot is cleaning the air, cleaning the floor, and hello. Only in Hong Kong where you see all this crazy stuff. And thank you for joining me, and see you soon. So from me, Matt in Hong Kong, to you, thank you, and I will see you soon.